the Marines have a saying that everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die. You know what I mean? Everybody wants all this glory. Everybody wants everything, but they're not willing to go through it. And again, kind of fortunately and unfortunately, I've been kicked in the teeth so many times in this business that I'm surprised I even have any left. You know, but I just keep getting back up. I keep rising, and only because a big thing Ron told me a long time ago is, Doug, the ones that become the most successful are the ones that outlast everybody else.
Senior Life Insurance Company. We're in sunny South Florida. We're obviously not where we normally shoot the podcast. I'm Thomas Roach, Director of Marketing, and today we are all fired up. We have an amazing guest today, a good friend of mine, somebody I've known for quite some time, one of our top RVPs in our company, Mr. Doug. Doug, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, Thomas.
We really appreciate you doing it this morning. We really appreciate, if you check out the shirts we are wearing, these are courtesy of Doug. We are currently on our Mindset is Everything tour to the special Blake Agency shirts for the Mindset tour. So we appreciate you.
Absolutely. I think you guys all look real good in them too.
I think we look great.
Yes.
Kent, who's actually our director of our podcast and our producer, actually wants to score one of the black and what is it, like purple ones?
The Miami Vice ones, yeah.
He would really like one. He was afraid to ask you, though, because it is a shirt that you give to members of your downline when they make a special achievement, and he felt like he hadn't quite made that achievement. But I'm hoping maybe with my pool we can make an exception.
Well, I'm guessing just since it's on camera and I'm recorded, I kind of have to say yes, right?
If I pressure you into that position, maybe we'd be able to do
those
that.
are our summertime shirts.
Definitely.
So that Miami Vice summer theme, so we'll definitely go ahead and get you one of them.
There you go. He wears an extra large, so you can hook that up.
All right.
So, you know, you've had a lot of success with Senior Life, with this company, but you're not originally from like a final expense background. I believe you worked in like mortgages or something like that. Could you kind of explain what you were doing before you got into final expense?
Yeah, so I definitely didn't start out in insurance at all. So I started out in mortgages. I graduated from college back in August 2004. From New Jersey originally, moved to Florida like literally the month after. And my father-in-law was always in the mortgage business. So being that we just moved, he's like, hey, if you know, you just graduated college, so if you want, you come work with me at my mortgage company and we'll kind of partner up. I just asked my wife Rosa to marry me, so it just seemed like I said, well, why not? I'm moving to Florida.
Your father-in-law liked you.
A little bit.
So he had you come on board. And so what were you doing whenever you were working with them exactly?
So we started off just, trying to sell as many mortgages as possible. But, one thing that I found out real quickly, it's tough to be a new kid in town. I was starting off a new business. Right. And I did not know anybody. So I started trying to go to these realtor offices and get them to give me business of their customers. And what I found out real quickly is every single one of them, not only were they licensed realtors, but they also had their mortgage license. So I was hitting a brick wall everywhere I went.
Every time.
But
you did have some success with it for a while.
I had a lot of success. I figured out real quickly, and I think this would set a lot of the foundation for my success in insurance, not even realizing it back then, is I then started hiring mortgage brokers to work for me. So I figured, hey, listen, I can't do it myself. I don't know enough people. The market's so saturated. I mean, it was in the middle of that boom. Yeah. I mean, everybody had a license. Everybody was a mortgage broker. Yeah. So I said, okay, well, this is going to be too difficult to infiltrate. I don't have the time to build all those relationships. I don't have years and years and years, and I'm not from here. So let me just go find people that already have a connect. And we went from like having 0 agents to over 100 agents, mortgage brokers, within a short period of time, and we started doing really well.
What was your degree in? You said you graduated college before you did that.
Yeah, so my degree was in finance, and I stumbled upon I had to take one extra class, and I got a minor in economics. So, but don't ask me any economics questions because I couldn't tell you.
I got you. So working in the mortgage business, having such a large team, it seems like with that, you have a considerable amount of success. So what would cause you to even get insurance to begin with?
Well, I loved doing mortgages back in the day. Right. And I found myself where all these banks were closing, they're going out of business. You guys remember all that stuff that was happening back in, was it 06, 07 or 08 or whenever it was? And I just lost my passion for it. I didn't like it. I hated going to work every single day. Wow. And I hated the fact that I was only as good as my last paycheck. I hated the fact that because of some poor decisions financially,
right,
and not making the kind of money that I was making, and being that you're only as good as your last paycheck, I put my family in a tough spot.
I got you.
So I got my insurance license because of renewals, because of that residual income. At least that was my whole main thought process. Because when I first graduated college, but before I graduated college, you know, you start going on interviews and stuff.
Right.
So my first job interview was with a financial institution, and they wanted me to be a life insurance agent. So a lot of my thought process of getting my insurance license related back to that initial interview that I did with this one lady, because she said that was kind of the first stepping stone of being a successful financial planner.
Oh, wow.
You know, so I kind of remembered that, and I went and got my license.
I got you. And so after the market kind of falls apart, then you find yourself doing final expense originally, or were you doing other stuff for a while, or how did that?
I was working with a company that was a broker. They did everything.
Right.
And when I first got my license, you know, when you first learn about an industry and they're going over all the different topics of, you know, the different types of insurances and whatever the case may be, you know, you start liking certain aspects of things. So I liked the fact that, well, I could sit down with a guy like Thomas and I can sell him health insurance, life insurance, dentist insurance, like homeowners insurance, the whole nine. I think I was going to sit down with someone and write him 10 policies every time I sat down with one person. I'm going to make millions of dollars.
Right.
Well, I found out real quick that that's pretty tough to do.
Okay.
Not so easy. So had a friend of mine tell me, Doug, we just got signed up with this company. They have leads and they'll pay you the next day. That's all I needed to hear.
That's all you needed to know. But you didn't stay with that company forever. Obviously, you wind up coming on board with Senior Life eventually. What was it about the previous experience or opportunity that led you to us?
Well, I started off kind of slow with them, and I was with this company for about 4 years.
Oh, wow.
I always tell my agents that, you know, it took me over a year to have my first month where I issued $10,000 in premium.
Oh, wow.
You know, that was kind of a big turning point for me. I was always writing business. I was doing all right, but I just didn't really find my stride. So, you know, after I had that 1 month that I issued over 10 grand, I started really killing it. You know, that very next year that I did that, the very next 12 months, I think it was somewhere around 220,000 ish. So I was averaging about 20,000 a month in premium. Right. So I was doing well, but compared to, I think, where a lot of other agents, the kind of money that I thought I should have been making, I wasn't even close. I went on a trip to Dominican Republic. It was a contest that we won for the incentive. And I got to talking to this guy from Colorado. I don't remember his name.
Right.
And probably because I was just so dumbfounded by the conversation that I didn't pay much attention to anything else. But he made a comment to me. He goes, I don't start any of my agents off on anything less than an 80% contract. And he told me, he goes, I don't think you have a chance to make it in this business when you're paying for leads if you're on anything less than an 80% contract. And I'm sitting there thinking, well, I was literally the nation's 14th highest producer in the entire country that year. And I was on a 70% contract. So I'm like, well, this is kind of stinks. So then you start talking to more people, asking more people, looking at the layers of growth and where you can go. And just like the mortgage business, I kind of started losing my passion for the business.
Wow.
Yeah. So unfortunately, and maybe kind of fortunately, the company that I was at never had anything nice to say about Senior Life or Ron Powell. You know, and I think because of the negative things they said made me look a little bit deeper into Senior Life, you know, because I'm not a dumb person. At least I like to think I'm not a dumb person. Right. And it just didn't make any sense to me that you have a legitimate company that's an insurance carrier. There's no way that they could do all these things that badly. That doesn't make any sense to me. You know what I mean? They wouldn't be open. So I'd get a couple of emails over the years from Ron. And remember when I first got some of them, I remember even forwarding them to my previous upline and like almost kind of like laughing a little bit. Like, look at this president of insurance company. Because, you know, when you're there, you just want to kind of be like everybody else. You know what I mean? So you may make some jokes that you don't really mean, but just you're trying to fit in. So a lot of times I just dismiss it. I get a letter in mail, I dismiss it. I get an email, I dismiss it. But I reached a point at some time where I was just fed up, and I told myself that, Doug, you either gotta leave this company and stay in the industry, but you got to go to find a different company, or you just got to get out of this business, go do something else, because it's just not working. You know, there's no way that I'm working, 10, 12 hours a day, averaging writing 1 to 2 policies every single day and barely getting by. Just to me, it didn't make any sense. So I got one letter again from Ron, and it sat on the visor of my car.
Oh, wow.
For some reason, I didn't open it, but I didn't throw it out.
You just kept it.
I just kept it.
Still closed.
Still closed. For probably another couple of weeks went on.
Okay.
And I was working leads in one area, and I just reached a point where just like it was my breaking point. Like I was fed up.
Right.
And I looked up and I saw the letter.
And it was sitting there.
And I said, I got to call this guy.
Yeah.
I called him, no answer, left a voicemail. I said, I knew he was this. There's no way the president of an insurance company is going to call me back.
Right.
Who am I?
Right.
You know, so he did call me back about an hour later, Ron Powell himself. And we talked for, it felt like a long time.
Yeah.
You know, probably was 20 or 30 minutes. We had a really good conversation. And a couple of days later, I met him in a hotel in Fort Lauderdale. We spent a couple of days together. We hit it off, I think.
Yeah.
You know, we hit it off on the initial conversation we had over the phone. And I don't know why I feel this way, but like talking to Ron is very easy.
Yeah.
And I felt like, you know, I felt like I was talking to one of my friends I've known for a long, long time.
Right.
You know, so we clicked like right away. And even my wife last night, we were talking about this when I first asked her, I said, listen, I want to go talk to this company. And, you know, she's always been extremely supportive of me. If you think that's the right thing to do, Doug, go do it. I'll support you. I got your back. And, you know, that's really all I needed to hear from her. So when I talked with Ron, we hit it off. And 20 minutes into talk, before he even came down, I made my decision that I was going to go do that. I mean, I didn't tell him because I got my poker face. You know, I got to see if I can get some good deal. And I sat down with Ron in that hotel one morning and, man, he interviewed the heck out of me.
Yeah.
You know, I thought that he was going to be selling me as to why I should work for him.
Okay.
Where he was making me feel like, why should I hire you? Why should you be the guy that I pick and hang my hat on? And, you know, I gained a lot of respect for him because of that. And he never once tried to convince me to come to work for him. You know, and I think that's a bigger reason, too, why I came.
Wow.
Almost like took it away from me to a certain crazy degree.
To
you
see
know?
if you really wanted it.
Yeah. And I learned a lot of my recruiting techniques from that first time we spoke.
Wow. Did you have any apprehensions with the company, though, after that? I mean, because we're located in Thomasville, Georgia. It's a small town. A lot of people there. I mean, you're living outside of Miami, Florida. It's a lot different kind of atmosphere, different kind of culture. Did you have any apprehensions because of that?
Not at all, really. I'll be honest with you. Number one, I'm never one to judge anybody.
Right.
You know, it's just part of my DNA. To me, it doesn't make a difference what you look like, where you come from.
Yeah.
I mean, I look at the person as to the person.
Yeah.
You know, I learned a long time ago that, you know, to get respect, you got to give respect and vice versa and everything like that. And, you know, I thought it was kind of neat when I came to the home office for the first time.
Yeah.
You know, I've never been in a small rural town. I mean, I've been to some like I used to race dragsters as a kid.
Okay.
These junior dragsters. I don't know if you ever heard of them before. So they're quarter scale dragsters.
Okay.
Quarter mile racing. So just with that, we found ourselves in some lower populated areas, I guess you could say. But we're just at the racetrack. We didn't really drive around and spend time and hang out with people and stuff like that. But you know, what I found to be very refreshing is, you know, just how down to earth everybody was.
Yeah.
You know, at that time, Ron was driving a minivan.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Remember the minivan?
He was driving the minivan. Yeah.
He loved that minivan.
He really did. He really did.
You know, and it's not even really about what you drive, and I even tell some of my agents sometimes, I said, if Ron Powell was sitting in this room right now, you wouldn't know who he was.
Right.
They're not flashy people.
Yeah.
And I came from a world where it was all flash. You know, when I met one of my upline managers for the very first time at the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino here in Florida, he first met me. Before he even shook my hand, he threw his probably $20,000, $30,000 Rolex in my face and says, this is what the company gives you when you work real hard.
Wow.
I'm like, oh, nice to meet you too. My name's Doug.
Right.
You know, so, you know, when I felt that I was with regular people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I felt really home.
Absolutely. I remember whenever you came on board, like there was an excitement. Like a lot of people were talking about this great guy named Doug from South Florida that we've got coming on board, and a lot of people were really excited about you joining the company. You really were able to kind of blossom and take off, and I think a big part of that is, you know, your culture with your downline. You know, it seems like just from every time we visited, from Sonia to Mark to Dean to Joanne to everybody really cares about each other. Is that something that just is very natural? Is that something that you purposely make sure that you do? Like, how does that even come into play that you're so good at the culture within your agency? Well,
I think it all relates back to my wife and all my friends, my mother. they used to call me the mayor where I grew up.
Okay.
And the reason being is just like everywhere I went, I always knew everybody. And it was kind of funny because my wife, she's like, she just don't get it. She goes, Doug, we not even living in Florida that long, and all of a sudden, like, I'm going places, I start knowing people. I like to have fun.
Right.
I like to be around people that want to be around each other. I don't like to be around people that don't want to be around me. So I just thought it was only natural to create an atmosphere and environment where people like to come there. They like to come to my meetings. They like to, everybody wants to be part of something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? However we want to look at it, you got to go out there and work your butt off every single day.
Yeah.
So why not have fun doing it?
Yeah.
So at our meetings, we joke around a lot. We hang out together a little bit outside of the meetings. We started that Fired Up Friday thing not that long ago. And it just, it gives people an opportunity, I think, to get to know the real people, the side of things outside of business. And it's just been working really, really good.
Definitely.
So, I mean, I think it's just really kind of natural. And some of the people we brought on more recently have really helped that explode.
Definitely. Because I know you do like end of the year award ceremonies, you do beach trips. Today we can say this because the podcast will come out after, but you're announcing like your own incentive trip that you're going to be doing, like a lot of those things. So I think that's very commendable. It's very awesome that you do that. With that, this is the Mindset is Everything tour. How important is a positive mindset whenever you're doing all this, because you're working with so many people, you're helping so many families, every person that you hire is helping however many families after that. How important is it whenever you're continuing that to have a positive mindset?
I really think, and I know it's maybe a little bit cliche, but our whole yearly concept is mindset is everything. So I'll answer your question first off by saying it's everything.
There you go.
You know what I mean? And it really is. It is by far the most important thing. We talk a lot about activity. We preach 15 presentations a week. I'm sure you've heard that before.
Yes.
That's the secret. If you do 15 presentations this week with a piss poor attitude, the activity that you put in really don't mean anything.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? I think activity with the right attitude is what will make you successful. So that mindset and how you perceive things is the most important thing. And it's not always a lot of times what happens to you, because things are going to happen to all of us. Change is going to happen. You're going to get, just things thrown at you that you're not going to be able to control.
Right.
Mitch told me something a long time ago. Mitch Conner said, don't allow things that you can't control you. So if you allow those things to ruin your mindset and ruin your attitude, it just destroys you. So knowing that things are going to happen, it's not about what those things that are going to happen to you. That's not about that. It's about what you do next, how you react to those, what you do from it. So I think that attitude and your mindset it's just the most important thing.
Because, and that's something about you that's really awesome. Something about you that I've always really admired and really respected about you is you'll do recruiting efforts, you'll do events, you'll do things, and not just in the course, just, how things work. Not everything works. Sometimes you have to take a loss. Sometimes you take an L, and for some reason you're always able to let it just roll off your back and you just go on to the next thing. So is that something that, from talking to Mitch and Ron and Shiver and everybody, is that gotten bigger, gotten more with you being with Senior Life, or is that just something that just naturally you were able to bounce right back after something happened?
Well, I think I might make it look a little bit easier, that it doesn't bother me.
Right.
But it does a lot. Okay. When you take an L, it takes a lot. It takes a toll on you.
Yeah.
But again, just going back to what I said previously, it's not about the L. It's about what you do next. I mean, that's the most important thing. The Marines have a saying that everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die. You know what I mean? Everybody wants all this glory. Everybody wants everything, but they're not willing to go through it. And again, kind of fortunately and unfortunately, I've been kicked in the teeth so many times in this business that I'm surprised I even have any left. But I just keep getting back up. I keep rising, and only because a big thing Ron told me a long time ago is, Doug, the ones that become the most successful are the ones that outlast everybody else.
Yeah.
And even I have some agents that come on back, Doug, you're still at Senior Life? I'm like, dude, it's only been 6 years. It's like you're talking like I've been here for 45, 50 years.
Right.
But I think in this industry that we're in, people just switch like crazy.
That happens a lot.
People are not dedicated. And, to rewind a little bit of when I came on board with Senior Life, I remember sitting down with Ron and thinking, like, there's no way that you guys do all this stuff. Like, really? Like, everything I ever griped and complained about in my previous opportunity, we had that and some here.
There it is.
You know, it's one of them things where it's like, it's too good to be true. It probably is.
Right.
Well, it's too good to be true, but it really is here.
There it is.
And so when I first came on board, I'm like, Doug, if this is really what it's supposed to be and what he's telling you, you know, if you can't make it here, you don't deserve to be in this business.
Oh, wow.
You know, so I told myself that you just gotta, this is that chance that, you know, I remember it a lot. Ever been in that place where you're like, oh, well, if I was just that age, then I would have bought that house. You know, if I was younger and I was in that right. If I just was this, if I just was that, if I would have started with that company back then, I could have, you know, just because I was there that time, like, you know, if I would have bought that IBM stock before it IPO'd, I'd have been a millionaire.
Right.
Well, this was my chance. This was that one time where I felt that I was the right person at the right place at the right time with the right opportunity.
Wow.
So I think that big thing alone has carried me through a lot of those tough times.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Now, with the losses and be able to bounce back, you have had a considerable amount of wins. You know, you're very successful with the company. You've hired a lot of people who have really, really excelled. Yeah. You know, shouts out to Joanne, who wrote like $43,000 and became the #1 producer in the company last month. Jennifer out of Louisiana, brand new to the industry, and in about a month's time, she was already writing close to $20,000 a month and everything. Like you're very good at kind of scouting talent. You know, what is it? Like everybody thinks is there's a certain kind of person, that there's a look, there's a resume. What do you look for whenever you're looking for recruits, when you're looking to people to offer this opportunity to? Well,
first off, I'll preface it by saying it's not just me. You know, I have a lot of help with this now, especially. I didn't always, you know, but I have a lot of help in my leadership team that really does a bang up job in helping us as a team bring a lot of these people in, you know. But, you know, I don't really like to judge a book by its cover. And I hope no one in recruiting gets mad at me, but I don't ever look at resumes.
Right.
I look at the name and the phone number and I'm calling them up because I want to talk to that person.
Right.
You know, going back to an exercise that we did years ago where they put a resume up on a slideshow, if you remember that thing, and they were talking about certain things. He did this, she did da-da-da. And who would hire them? And no one's hands went up, and well, you'd missed out on Ron Powell.
Yeah, he was
you
like,
know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, what I do know too, because I've written my own resume before.
Yeah.
It's all nonsense. It's all stuff to make me sound better than I really am.
Right.
So, and I look at some of these resumes that people make. I'm just like, I don't want to look at these things. Well, number one, I don't waste my time reading them. I want to find out who that person is. And at the end of the day, we're in sales.
Yeah.
So the first thing that I look at is how that first conversation goes.
Right.
You know, if I struggle to have a conversation with you, I don't know, you're not going to be able to make it.
Yeah.
You know, because you're going to go into a stranger's home.
Right.
You know, and you're supposed to be trying to quote unquote impress me at this because we're interviewing you, right?
Right.
So, and you can't have a conversation with me, you know, that's a first thing that I look at. You know, really and truly, if someone's got a halfway decent personality and is willing to work hard, that's all I need.
Yeah.
That's all I need to go by.
Definitely.
You know, if someone is giving me a hard time, like I tell the girls that help me make a lot of these calls, that if someone's rude to you in that first call and gives you a hard time, you have all the power to say, no, thank you, bye.
Right.
Like, there's no reason. I said, if someone's going to give you trouble right up front, imagine what they're going to be like when they get their first set of leads and don't close anything.
Yeah.
I don't want to be in that situation, talk to that guy or girl. So I just think I'm just looking for good people. Dale said something to me a long time ago. Never hire someone that you wouldn't have over your house for dinner. You know, and I think you don't have to take that literally, but I think the whole thought concept behind that is hire good people that are willing to work hard. And I think the rest just kind of works itself out.
Definitely. You get a lot of wins by the people that you hire, but you also have gotten other wins and won a lot of contests with the company. You actually have your ring on right now.
I do, yeah.
One thing that you did win, and I believe it was actually
And what time is it?
Also won the watch, the Rolex. But you also won for your wife. I believe you gifted to her a brand new Jeep a few years ago. What was that about? What was going on? What was the contest like? What was your strategy? Like, how did that all go? What were your thoughts on that?
Well, my strategy always is all in or nothing.
Right.
But I remember Dale called me up, and I was in the car with Rosa, and he called me up, and I'm like, Dale, I got you on speaker, so don't say nothing bad. Just, joking, because I say that. They got the family in the car.
Right.
And he says, Doug, if you do $100,000 a month or a week, because I think they were trying to tailor fit something for every RVP at that time. $100,000 a week for 4 weeks straight, I'll give you a Rolex. But okay, that sounds cool. You know, he calls me back like 5 minutes later. He goes, Doug, I let you down.
Oh, wow.
I said, okay, what's up, man? You let me down. What are you talking about?
Right.
He goes, if you do $100,000 a week for 4 weeks, I'll give you a Rolex. But if you do $100,000 a week for 8 weeks, I'll buy you a brand new Jeep.
Buy a brand new Jeep.
I said, what? Okay, no problem.
Yeah.
So we had the whole year of 2016 to do it. I think I hit it by the 3rd or 4th month.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because it had to be consecutive.
It had to be. And it wasn't written.
Right.
It had to be issued.
Right. For
consecutively.
8 weeks in a row.
In a row.
And you managed to
and
do
we
that.
did, and I still got the poster in my office, $900 and some odd thousand in 8 weeks.
In 8 weeks. That's amazing. And it was a beautiful Jeep. You guys came to the home office.
Yeah.
Had a ceremony and everything. Had a big party. And it was really awesome. And then your wife got to drive off in her brand new Jeep that you had earned her. That's awesome, man. What does your wife mean to you? Because we've done interviews in The Scoop before, and she was involved with that. I've met her many, many times. She's an amazing person. But what does she mean to you and your success with the company?
Well, I think every successful person needs a strong support system at home.
Yes.
And she's always been there for me with that. I've came home times before where I haven't written anything. You know, we've all had those days where you come home, you feel defeated.
Yeah.
You know, it's never been, why don't you find something else to do? Or that what you're doing is no good anymore. It's always, well, just, keep back at it. Right. She always pushed me. She always, had the right things to say. My wife's a school teacher. Okay. So she works with kids. Yeah. And, she's just very, very good at, getting the best out of people. Definitely. She's great at it. And, she's always been a huge support for me, holding down a fort when I go on trips, because with Senior Life, we go away a lot. We're up at the home office a couple times a year, doing seminars all around the country sometimes, having our bromance, we call it, me and Ron, in his house in Panama, so, and my wife, she always makes fun of me on that, but she's always, never complained once.
Wow.
And just always supported me.
Where would you be if you never met her?
Well, I wouldn't be in Florida, that's for sure. Probably would have never met Senior Life. I wouldn't be a lot of things, to be honest with you. She takes a lot of credit for the way I dress now and my whole image. I mean, I think she's been
you're a sharp guy,
grooming me since we met.
I got you.
But I give her a lot of credit for the man that I am today.
There you go. Speaking of wardrobe, your clothes fit a little bit different because in the last, I don't know, maybe year two, maybe you've gone complete beast mode and gotten into CrossFit. What's that about? What's the deal with that?
I was a wrestler in high school. I ran cross country. I ran track. I mean, I was always in shape. Right. I always worked out. I moved to Florida and I became that person I never wanted to become. I was out of shape. I was a skinny fat guy. That's what I was. I was had these puny little arms. I know the deal. Big old beer belly. And I had one of my buddies that I grew up with was in my wedding party. He always kind of maintained in fitness. He's a big entrepreneur, always was kind of just doing whatever it takes. Right. And he started this little gym, this little boot camp style type stuff. And I said, let me give this a try. And I did this little 30-day challenge where you eat real clean, no sugar, don't even eat carrots because they got too much sugar in it type of diet. Was strict as all heck. Right. And setting timers of when to eat. And I lost 30 pounds in 30 days. Wow. And I said, okay. And I wasn't even working out hardly. Right. Just a couple days a week. So then I said, I started falling in love with it, back in there because, just like this, you got to like what you do. Yeah. You got to enjoy it, So I started doing that boot camp thing. I was getting in good shape. We started doing those Spartan races, Tough Mudders and stuff like that. Right. I like to compete. Yeah. I was an athlete my whole life. I like to win. Yeah. I don't like to lose. Right. And if I do lose, I'm gonna learn from it and I'm gonna come back, I'm gonna beat you again. Absolutely. So we started doing these Tough Mudders, these running races and jumping over obstacles and diving in ice baths and barbed wire climbing, crazy stuff. And I started having fun with it. And then we did this CrossFit competition one time. Yeah. We thought it'd be a good idea, but neither one of us ever did CrossFit before. Oh wow. So we're well, that'd be fun. So it was a 3-person team. Well, the third person got hurt. So we ended up having to do it, which is 2 of us. Oh, wow. And we were, all the judges were like, oh, my God, how are you guys doing all this? There's only 2 of you. And we didn't get last place. We didn't win, of course. There's only 2 of us, but we didn't get last. And we thought that was a big accomplishment. So I started doing more and more CrossFit type of workouts. And, just kind of progressed to where now I'm doing competitions as much as I can.
Right.
I won one time, which was a big accomplishment. I mean, I'm up against these kids that are half my age.
Right.
The gym that I go to, I think the average age is probably 25.
Oh, wow.
My wife doesn't even go to that gym anymore because, she like almost feels intimidated because it is very intimidating when you're in a gym with a bunch of testosterone and people that are just doing crazy stuff and you're not, really into all that stuff. It can be very intimidating.
Right.
So, but I'm there. I love it. I love the fact that I can beat a 25-year-old and tell him that, I was 25, 15, 16 years ago. How's that feel now?
Right. Definitely. So you're very motivated. You're always very focused, competition within, personal things that you do along with your business. With the Blake Group, it being such a tremendous agency and doing so well, what's the future of the Blake Group?
Well, I think short-term future is we have a goal that we will be the number one agency in the company before the year's out. And I think we're making big leaps and bounds to catching up to Rob because I don't know, is that camera I talked to?
Yeah.
Because Rob, I'm coming to get you. We can make sure that's on camera.
Yeah, there you go.
No, but I love the competition that we can all have with us, and Rob and his team is amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, they're leaps and bounds just destroying us all right now, which is good because that gives us all something to chase.
Yeah.
So I think in the short term, we want to be number one again because we were number one for 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
And, I want that number one spot back. So,
Definitely.
but long term, I want to be the number one agency in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, outside of Senior Life. I mean, I want to be a big part in helping Ron realize that goal of making Senior Life $1 billion company.
Definitely.
Helping Senior Life be the number one producing final expense company in the world. Helping everybody else grow.
Right.
I mean, one cool thing about being a stock owner with Senior Life, because I was, thank God, allowed to purchase stock with the company, is the fact that Rob is beating me right now doesn't feel that bad because every time his agency writes a policy, I'm making some money still.
Right.
But
it's a good way to put it.
Yeah. So it is kind of fun. So I mean, I'd urge everybody that if they're not a stockholder to talk with Ron and their manager about. I mean, it's a huge part. I mean, you can make a lot of money doing it.
Definitely. What does Ron Powell mean to you?
He means a lot to me.
Yeah.
I tell people just the other day, I still don't know why he picked me. I really feel like he picked me. When he came on down to Fort Lauderdale that first time, I just was still dumbfounded as to why this man, this president of insurance company. Now, okay, I had some success in my previous company, but why me?
Yeah.
We've always clicked since the beginning. Like I said, he's been a big mentor to me. He's a huge layer of inspiration to me and my whole team.
Definitely.
I mean, we just released that video with him moving his leg, and I told you later this morning that I know people that are not paralyzed that can't move their leg that well.
Right.
So to see how far he's came in just the last year and working with Duke, and to see his drive and his motivation of a paralyzed man that takes a while to get going. I mean, I've been there with him in his house when he's got to get going in the morning. It takes some time.
It does take some time.
For him to be at a certain place early in the morning, I mean, it's what's crazy is that he gets up and goes to work every single day.
Every day.
And he fights every single day.
Every day.
And when I left him the first time, I said, Doug, this man's paralyzed. Came all the way down to see your butt. Mm-hmm. You owe it to him to make this work, and all those little excuses that you used to make, compared to what he goes through on a day-to-day basis, they don't mean nothing, But I mean, he's been a huge mentor. I mean, it's got me out of a lot of tough situations because I didn't know how to handle them,
right?
And Robert too, for that matter. Mike Harper back in the day was a big help for me, when he was with us, and it's you need a lot of support, and Ron's he's never deprived me of that support.
Definitely, definitely. Well, we're going to be wrapping this up shortly. Before we go, I like to give people the opportunity. Is there anything else you want to say before we get out of here today?
Not really, man. I would just really encourage everybody to give this opportunity all you got.
Definitely.
I think a lot of people come here let me rephrase that. I've never met somebody that came or wanted to come to work with Senior Life and the Blake Group, not wanting to conquer the world, wanting to be a millionaire. I mean, we interview people every single day. What do they want? I want to win. Yeah. I want to make $1 million. I want to make $100,000. I mean, I want this to be my last stop. Well, I think they need to wake up and make it their last stop.
Definitely.
And make that decision and give it everything you got and hang in there as long as you can possibly hang in there. That it may take a year, it may take a month, it could take 10 years, 20 years, 30, it could take a long time.
Right.
But I do know, and I think I'm a product of if you stick with it, you'll get there. You'll get to where you want.
Definitely. Well, Doug, I appreciate, first of all, of course, like we said at the beginning, the cool shirts. I appreciate you letting us come into your office while we were visiting South Florida. But at the end of the day, I just really appreciate you. You're somebody who's always shown me a tremendous amount of love and respect. You're somebody that I am inspired by a great deal, and I feel very fortunate just to know you. So I
appreciate it. And same back at you, man, because you've always been a big, huge support for us. Whenever I need something marketing-wise or anything really, you make it happen every single day, all the time, and I appreciate that, man. It means a lot.
I appreciate you saying that. But that concludes the latest episode of our podcast, and like we always say at the end, it's senior life, all your life.